Welcome back to Digital Class, and now we're looking at PSLE last minute revision set number G. Okay, let's look at our first question here, which is from Nanhua paper 1, question 14. So here, this question now says that the ratio of the number of girls in team A, the number of girls in team B is 2 to 3. Okay, so it's slightly confusing now. I have girls here, and now divided into team A and team B, and it's 2 to 3. And next part, the ratio of the number of boys in team A to number of boys in team B is 5 to 3. Now I have another one, which is boys, and they are divided into team A and team B, and the ratio is 5 to 3. And here says what? In team A, the ratio number of girls to boys supposedly to be 4 to 3. Means that if I were to put here, okay, this is team A, boys to girls, okay, I should say girls to boys, sorry. Girls to boy, it's supposed to be 4 to 3. Now, what is the ratio of the number of girls to boys in team B? Now, let's try to focus on this one first. Girls A, boys A is 2 to 5. But girls, so same from team A, boys from team A also is 4 to 3. Now, the ratio here is 2 to 5, but the ratio here is 4 to 3. This makes it a bit confusing now, right? Because this is supposed to be 4, this is supposed to be 3. But why is it 2 to 5? Because now this ratio now is linked to this. This ratio is linked to this. But this is under team A. So what are we supposed to do now? Is actually to make this and this kind of the same, but at the same time, this and this would also be its multiple. Okay. So if you look carefully, like 4, probably if you can find out the multiple of 4 and 3 lah. So times 2 will be 8, 6. We need to kind of make this and this, example 4 and times 2 here will be 10. We need to try to make this and this to be kind of the same. Means that, okay, in simple terms, I need to find the multiple of 2 and 5 and the multiple of 4 and 3 and find the common one. Okay, and if you like actually try it out, or perhaps if you are good in math and you have a mathematical sense, you should actually kind of know that 40, 30, which I multiply by 10 by 10, right, is actually kind of a good option here. Why? Because 40, I actually can times what? 20 here, right? 5, I actually can times what to become 30? 6, right? So if I multiply by 20 here, I need to multiply by 20 here. If I multiply by 6 here, I need to multiply by 6 here. And with that, I actually can get 40, 60, here will be 30, here will be 18, and here of course will be 40, 30, will be the same already. And with that, I actually can try to compare everything now in the common ratio, okay? Because now, here and here and here actually can't be compared together unless you make it into a common ratio. And now, the question now asks, right, what is the ratio of girls and boys in team B? B, girls and boys will be 60 to 80. And of course, if I simplify it further, it will be 10 to 3. Option number 4. Okay? Yes, and that is basically what you are supposed to do. Okay, let's move on to the next question. Next question is from Henry Park, paper 1, question 28. This is not a hard or difficult question, but I think it's worth for us to discuss to remind us on the rate question. Now, a machine started labeling containers at 9 a.m. So just imagine 9 a.m. Now, at the rate of 600 containers per hour, so 1 hour, it can label 600 containers. Now, for every 3 hours, the machine will stop for 15 minutes. How many containers can it label by 1:45? So 1:45 p.m. on the same day. Now, you see, 9 a.m., after 3 hours, 10, 11, 12. So it'll be 12 p.m., right? Or 12 noon. So here to here is 3 hours. And after 3 hours, it will stop for what? 15 minutes, right? So 15 minutes. So it will be 12:15 p.m. And 12:15 to 1:45 is about 1 hour and 30 minutes. Or you can say it's 1.5 hours. Okay. And I think it's very clearly shown here that this 3 hours is working and this 1.5 hours is working, this 50 minutes stops. So if 1 hour 600, then 3 hours will be 6 times 300 will be 1800. And 1.5 hours times 600, it will be 900. Yes. So how many containers can be labeled? 1800 plus 900, which is 2700. Okay, and yes, we are done for this question. Okay, simple one. And let's move on to our next part of the question. Okay, next part of the question is from Henry Park, paper 1, question 30. Okay, this is a very interesting question. I used to plan to give you questions like this for my students okay. I give you a front wheel, side wheel, you are supposed to draw top wheel or either one okay. I give you top side and you need to draw the front. And at the end I decided not to because I feel it's slightly difficult and I only see like one school did that before this worksheet before. Then I decided maybe not this round, will also be slightly difficult for you to imagine for someone who is not good in imagination, maybe spatial skills not that well. But I think this is a good question for us to try it out. And let's try to see this question. Now, 7 similar cubes were stacked to make a solid figure. So, I mean, this is a very important word here. 7 similar cubes. So, you know that there's only 7 cubes here, okay? Were stacked to make a solid figure such that it has the following front and side wheel. So, this is the front wheel. So, always we draw like this, right? This is the front. This is the side. So, front wheel will be something like this. Side wheel will be something like this. Now, if I were to draw front wheel, probably it will look like this, right? Like this, like this. Like this, like this. Now, you might be thinking, hey teacher, why this part you don't add one more? Because here I have one more. But if you look here, this is front, right? This is side, right? But you notice that here there's nothing, right? So here you have nothing. The part here is actually from here. Means that there should be another one here. Like this. Okay, a bit not nice, but yeah. So this is actually how the figure or the solid shoe looks like, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay? But this could be just one of the following or possible figure only. I mean, because why? Because these two actually can be on another side, right? Means that, let me just draw a bit nicer now. Maybe nice, I don't know. Okay, not that nice, but yeah. I mean, these two actually can be on, not nice. Can be here instead, right? Be connecting to these two. Means that actually, because no matter is this figure 1 or either figure 2, I'll just call it solid 1, solid 1 or solid 2, it still gives you this view, right? Front view is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Side view is still the same. So I think that this probably have 2 possible answer to draw here. So if it's top view, okay, let me just draw a line here. If your answer is this one, if your imagination of the solid is like this, then probably your top wheel looks like 1, 2, yeah, looks like this. And of course, if your imagination looks like this, then probably it will be just slightly different. It will be like this instead. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. Okay. I think regardless which one is it, I think should be considered as right, unless I made a mistake here lah. Okay. But so far this is what my imagination is. Okay. Let me know if I maybe imagine wrongly. Okay. Yeah. I mean, of course, when you draw this again, you must draw what using pencil and ruler with a single straight line. If you are thinking whether you want to shade it or not, you can, but shade it nicely. Let's move on to the next part, which is same from Henry Park paper 2, but now it's a question 7. Okay, so this is not a very difficult question, but it's kind of a question that I think we have not kind of practiced for a short while. That's why I'm choosing this question to discuss. Now, for every mobile phone that Susan sells, she earns a sum of money as shown. So she will earn a 10% of the first $160 of the selling price. And perhaps this is actually fixed, right? 10% of 160, you know immediately is the amount, right? And 12% of the remaining selling price. And she sold a mobile phone and earned $76.90. What was the selling price of the mobile phone? So again, as I told you, this part is definitely fixed. 10% of 160. I know it's $16, right? Means that she actually earns $16 from this requirement and a certain amount here and add up to be 76.90. So what I need to do is to use 76.90 minus 16, which I found out is $60.90, which is this part. This is the amount I earned from the remaining selling price. And this remaining selling price, this amount that I earned is only 12% of the remaining selling price. So if 12% gives you 60.90, then what is the remaining selling price? It's 100%. So I just use $60.90 divided by 12 times 100. And I know the remaining selling price is actually, press on your calculator and you should get 507.50. And this is my remaining selling price. But of course, I don't forget, if I want to find the real selling price, I need to add back the first 160. So 507.50 plus 160. And the amount is 667.50. Okay. Yes, and we are done for this question. Okay, I think nothing difficult here. It's just a very normal question. Let's move on to our next part of the question. Okay, let's look at this question together. This is from 2025 Henry Park paper 2 question 11. Now this question here says that Adam cut a rope into 3 pieces. The first piece was 4.5 meter longer than 1 out of 4 of the original length of the rope. The second piece was 3.3 meter longer than 3 out of 5 of the remaining rope after the first cut. The third piece was 8.7 meter. What was the original length of the rope? Wow, when you look at this question, perhaps it's, wow, this question is like kind of confusing, right? But if you are my students, you should kind of read this question and kind of guess what concept is this. Okay, this is from booklet 4 and it's something that we have been practicing quite a while, and even it appears on your prelim questions this year in a different way, and you should be able to identify this is actually what concept? Remainder concept, and type 3 lah, okay? This is called a little bit more. Okay. Now, and as you learn, when we are doing a little bit more, it's good to do the branching out. Then we just walk backwards. Okay. So just imagine this is the rope. The first piece was 4.5 meter longer than 1/4 of the original length. So the first piece, I just draw this first piece, 1/4 And how many longer? 4.5. Okay. Now, if I have first like this, what is the remaining or what's the leftover? 3 out of 4 minus 4.5. This is what I left, right? And the second piece is what? 3.3 meter longer than 3 out of 5 of the remaining, right? So the second piece is 3 out of 5 of the remaining. But don't forget, how many more? 3.3 meter more. And with that, what is left? It will be 2 out of 5 minus 3.3. And again, this leftover perhaps is actually the third piece. And that is actually equivalent to what? 8.7 meter. Now, this question again is a little bit more type the question that we learned. But this is slightly different because they don't use the word more. They use the word longer instead. Okay. So how do we do this? Again, we walk backwards. Means that we start from here, we move backwards, then we go up. If you move backwards, everything must reverse. Okay? Means that minus will become plus. Divide will become times. Times will become divide. So 8.7 here minus, right? If I move, 8.7 will become plus 3.3. That gives you 12. 12. Here is times, here is divide, right? It will reverse. 12 will divide by 2 times 5. So it will be 30. Okay? And I move. 30, I plus 4.5. And that will be equivalent to 34.5. And move. I need to divide by 3 and times 4. And the answer is 46. Yes, and you are done for this question. 46 meter. Okay, simple. Again, if you know it's a little bit more, definitely you know how to do it. But if you can't recognize the concept, which is what most of you are a bit weak at in identifying the concept, then you probably will struggle a short while. Okay, let's look at our last question for the day, which is from MGS Paper 2, question 11. Okay, let's look at this question and we are done. So, the figure below is made up of 2 identical square and 3 triangles. Again, what is the keyword here? Identical. Means that they are actually the same size, just that maybe the orientation is a bit different. That's why they don't use the word same, but they use the word identical. So again, I would strongly suggest you always label everything out. Means I label like this, 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 like this. Why am I doing this? Because I'm telling myself that all these lengths are actually the same. 90, 90, 90, 90, 90, 90, 90, 90. And if you look carefully here they use the word 3 triangles. But do they specify what kind of triangle is that? No, they did not. But after you have do all this labeling, which I did, do you notice that BCH is actually what kind of triangle? Yes, it's an isosceles triangle. And the same goes to HEG. What kind of triangle is this? Yes, as you know, this is actually isosceles triangle because I've labeled these two to be the same length. That's why I always recommend you to label it nicely. Okay. So our question asks us to find A, which is CBH, and B, which is GEF. Correct? Let me just check. Yes. I'm just writing it here so that it's easier for me to. I don't need to go up and down. Now here I know it's 90. Here I know it's 90, and I know these two are actually the same. And I know angles at a point is always 360. This is what we learned in booklet 5. So all these add up supposed to be 360. So if I want to find the angle here, I just need to use 360 minus 90 minus 90 minus 128, which gives me 52 here. And I know these two are the same, right? So I just need to use 180 minus 52 and divide by 2. 64. Okay, simple. Okay, so now let's move on to look at the next part of the question. I need to now find GEF. GEF is GEF. So here, this is the angle now I'm looking at. So perhaps I can start from here. I know that these two angles are supposed to be the same. So 180 minus 128 divided by 2. So it's 26. Okay. So 26 here, 26 here. Now, the next part is something that is important, and you should notice that this and this is parallel line. That's why when I do this is a Z shape. That's why if here is 26, here will also be 26. Okay? Now, let me just remind you a bit. You can't say that this is 26, that's why here is 26. Okay? You can't say that because this is not a parallelogram, or I should say not a rhombus. Okay? So you can't assume that these two are the same. Even parallelogram you cannot say it's the same. Yeah, even parallelogram you cannot say it's the same. This is not a rhombus, that's why you cannot say it's the same. This and this are the same because here is 26. Okay, I hope you got what I'm trying to say. Okay, and I think here 26, here 78. I think this is easy to find. Here's 180 minus 26 minus 78, and you should get the answer is 76. Okay, 64 and 76. Okay, simple, and we are done for our question here. Okay, yes, and finally we are done with our LMR last minute revision for set number G. And again, I hope you learned something, and that's all. Thank you. See you. Bye bye.